There are renovations going on in the House Republican Party, but not of the new floor, new wallpaper, new crown molding types. Instead, the party is going for a whole new agenda, or at least a new brand. With the party going through an identity crisis, leaders are desperately trying to buff up its image. The trouble is, the party is divided, maybe too divided, to agree on exactly what that new image ought to be. How can they implement a brand if they can't agree on what it should be? Back with their best rebranding tips, we welcome Editor-in-Chief of U.S. News & World Report and Chairman and Publisher of the New York Daily News, Mort Zuckerman, and host of the nationally syndicated Ed Schultz Show, Ed Schultz. Ed, interesting, very interesting piece today, I thought, in the Politico about this question. The question being, what does the Republican Party stand for? The party's grappling with it, something the Democratic Party, I think, should do too. Here's one of the findings from a study on attitudes of Republican members. 78% of the members who have served 1 or 2 terms in Congress describe themselves as conservative. Of those who had served 3 to 5 terms, only 20% said they were in favor of a conservative agenda. In other words, they get a lot more liberal over time in the Congress. Why is that?
Well, the country shifted, Tucker. I told you on this program several months ago that I thought the Republicans had an identity crisis. You've got to be more to the American people than being just about tax cuts and gays, guns, and God. And the fact is, the country wants health care. The country wants to reduce the deficit. The country wants out of this war. The Republicans are out of step with the majority of the American people. And so you can go back and put lipstick on a pig all you want. You still got a pig, and you got a party that has got an identity crisis.
Now, Mort, you've owned a lot of different businesses. Can you confirm my suspicion that if you get to the point where you think a new slogan is going to save you, a rebranding is the answer, you're already lost?
Oh, for sure. Look, the Republican Party has the objective of every political party. They want to win. And the fact is that the conservative agenda under George Bush has been dramatically diminished, and they've got to move out to the center because the agenda that is associated with the Bush administration is a loser. You put George Bush in conjunction with any Republican senator or any Republican congressman, and they're going to lose. So they've got to move in some different direction, and they're just pursuing what any political party would, which is how in the world are we going to win? And they've got to change their focus because the vast majority of the American public today are no longer associated with the conservative wing of the Republican Party, including a lot of Republicans.
But see, here's what confuses me, Ed, is George W. Bush is not a conservative. He's not for small government. He hasn't done a lot for the religious conservatives' pet issues. He's not in favor of a restrained, sensible, realistic foreign policy. He's not a traditional conservative in any way. He's a big government liberal in a lot of ways. Why do conservatives stand around and let him steal their label? Call himself conservative? Why don't they challenge him on that and say, well, you're not conservative, pal. Stop defiling that brand.
Tucker, this is all part of the plan for the neocon agenda to blow this federal budget deficit up to the point where they can cut back government to where they want it. They're all about privatization. They're all about getting rid of entitlement programs, but that's not what the American people want, and that's why the conservative agenda is suffering in this country.
But Bush has created a new entitlement program. Well, who's the last Republican to do that? He created the prescription drug benefit.
This is all part of the plan for him. It's all
making
part of the
government
plan
bigger so you can make it smaller?
They're going to try to come back and cut government as best they possibly can. And look, this is a 25-year plan. This is what this is.
When was the last time we cut a middle-class entitlement? Let's see, never. Because we never will, because we're because middle-class Americans think they're owed free
I'd like to ask you guys, do you think they're trying to break the bank? Do you think they're trying to break the bank? You damn right they're trying to break the bank. They're trying to break the country to the point where we're not going to be able to afford anything anymore. This is part of the agenda of the neo-nuts out there, to go out there and blow up the federal budget deficit and then eventually come back and cut government because we're broke. And that is the issue. And if Mr. Zuckerman can stand behind that, then okay. Well, do you buy that, That's where it is, Tucker. That's where it is.
What do you think, Mort?
I'm afraid I don't agree with that. I really don't think that's the real agenda that's behind the Bush administration. In fact, in fairness to them, the budget deficit has gone down by quite a bit because tax receipts have gone up so much. But I do think they do have a particular kind of agenda, which today is no longer acceptable to the vast majority of the American public, and that is on a lot of major issues, whether it be, in fact, the long-term health of Social Security, Security, health care programs, immigration. You could go through a whole series of major issues, and we have not been able to address them because of the sheer partisanship, not just of the Republicans, I might add, but of the Democrats as well.
And
so I do think.
No, you had the House, the White House, and the Senate, and you didn't do anything with it. The conservatives had total power with DeLay and with Frist and Bush, and they got nothing done.
Let me just say one thing. You want to know why the prescription drug program was put through? It was put through because there's a huge population called the elderly who really supported that program, and it was a hugely popular program.
Exactly.
Paying for it is somebody else's problem. In the meantime, they got a lot of credit for that program.
Exactly.
That's why they did it.
In the end, voters want free stuff. That's the oldest. That's the oldest truth in politics. All right, we'll be right back.
No, they don't. They want accountability, and they don't want privatization of something that works, such as Social Security.
Oh yeah. I respectfully disagree, but we'll be back in a minute.